haven't done a video in a while, and I usually do one when I feel like I have something to say. So if people want to hear videos from me and they're not getting enough, I apologize, but I usually have to have something to, specifically talk about. Something I see my students doing a lot, and I think I've mentioned this in some other videos in the past, at least the sound that I'm hearing in my head. I'm not saying this is the sound everyone else wants to hear when we're talking about jazz guitar or improvising. An easy fix, I tell my students when they come to me, they could possibly know the scales, they could play in really good time, but the one thing I find that a lot of the rock guys bring over to jazz that I have to point out, and then when I do, they're like, whoa, that is something, oh, Brian, that you're right, and it's not easy for me to fix, is the vibrato thing. Okay, so the people I love to listen to, a lot of straight ahead jazz guitar, which if you follow me, I love Wes Montgomery, Pat Martino, and George Benson sits on a pedestal. The sound I'm hearing, the vibrato doesn't exist like it does in rock guitar, in jazz guitar. So for example, I'll get guys that come and I have them play over a blues. And when they solo, they do this kind of stuff. I'm gonna try to emulate it the best I can. I'll go. Okay, they do all this shake stuff, which exists in, a lot of your blues playing and your rock and roll genre of guitar playing, which is fine. I'm not against it, but I tell guys right away, if you can trust, and this is the point of this video, if you could trust the sustain and the straight tone of the sound, you will go from like a 78 on the test to like an 89 if you can control that. And what I will do is I'll have guys solo, and I'll say to them, I'm gonna like yell out when you do that. And it's amazing how they don't realize they're doing it. And excuse my grandfather clock, it's 8 o'clock. So they don't even realize they're doing it. And I have to point it out. And then it turns into, they don't realize that it's something they cannot control. They see, if you want to do that, or if you want to do anything in your playing, you should be controlling it. It should not be controlling you. I don't care if it's, any type of technique or texture. You need to control it. Do not let your hands lead you. You want your mind to lead you. And it's easier said than done. And I can remember being younger and learning, like, for example, bebop heads. And for some reason, your hands learn them before your mind. And you can end up in a bit of a pickle there if you say you're playing like Confirmation by Charlie Parker and you get like maybe 6 bars into the melody and you forget it. Getting back in that, if you don't know it really well, you're gonna get hurt. And I think I've experienced that many times in my younger days of playing. And even now, if I don't know something really well, your hands will lead you before your mind. So you wanna make sure your mind is leading you. So I tell my guys with a vibrato, you need to be able to control that. If you want to play with a vibrato like that, it's cool, but is it controlling you or are you deciding to do it? And I find that 99% of the time, the vibrato is controlling them. And if they can shed that and control that texture, they've all of a sudden, got a better grade on the exam, if you will. So what am I saying? Like, a guy will come to me, they do all these shake things, but I tell them to trust the straight tone. So something like this. Just the straight tone, the sustain. least the guys that I love to listen to and emulate, that's the way they're producing the sound. And even if you look at the literature of jazz in general, saxophones, trumpet, if you heard a trumpet player or a saxophone player play with that vibrato that a lot of guitar players do, it would sound really, it would not sound like the vernacular in the music. It would have like this fast shake thing go on, which you don't hear. At least the people I listen to don't do. 8 o'clock. So you need to be able to control that, you know, and I tell like students that come to me that play saxophone or a wind instrument, the thing is your pitch has got to be better, because if you hit the sound, you have to have good pitch or you'll be out of tune. The guitar is a little more forgiving that way, because if it's set up properly and you're in tune, that's really not a concern. But if you play like the trumpet or the saxophone, you have to have really good pitch and hear it. So the vibrato does save you to an extent. And I'm not anti-vibrato, but that fast vibrato that I'm talking about in this video, a lot of guitar players bring to jazz early on, or they think that's what it is. It's not really, in what my ears are listening to, it's not part of the literature. So what I urge you to do is you need to record yourself, like 25, 30 seconds, play a blues, and see if you're doing that. And you want to get to the point where you control it and it does not control you. Slides are fine. All straight. So this short video, that was something I see a lot of my university students that come to me in the beginning. Something to think about, and even people that sit in this chair in my home studio. And it's something they get over pretty quick if it's brought to their attention. You know, if you're hanging with someone that really understands the music and it's brought to their attention. If it's not brought to their attention, they're not going to hear it unless they're really, you know, transcribing and checking out some language. So take this for what it is. If you're listening to the same type of music I'm listening to, now if you're checking out some progressive stuff, it's gonna be different. But the people I've illustrated, I think you're gonna see that I'm hitting the target in the center with this one. Everyone keep swinging.